want to do. And I know that on the invitation it says that we'll end at 9, but we can stay after that. So that said, let me introduce to you Anthony Jack. Anthony is currently a Harvard PhD candidate in sociology. He's the son of a school monitor and a first-generation college student originally from Miami. Before his arrival at Harvard, he spent his undergraduate years at Amherst College, where he graduated cum laude with a BA in Women's and Gender Studies and Religion in 2007, while also fulfilling pre-med requirements. At Harvard, he's interested in race, culture, gender, urban poverty, and the family. But more specifically, he has two main areas of interest. The first explores the new diversity push in higher education with the inclusion of class-based affirmative action measures, and especially the college experiences of first-generation college students. The second area focuses on everyday responses to racism and discrimination. Today, he's going to talk about his personal experiences before and at Amherst, with a focus on identifying strengths and specific skills one acquires through overcoming adversity. So, without further ado, thank you. This is Anthony.
I'm already tall enough, big enough, I don't need to stand all the way up there. Do I need to use the mic? Yes. I do? Oh. There you go. Put it in the stand. I mean, I might break it if I do that. I'm gonna let y'all know, right? I gave a talk yesterday to the like all the staff. I'm gonna fall and walk back. Yeah. To all the staff. Okay. Cool. Okay. I gave a talk to all the staff members yesterday, and to tell you the truth, that was like a normal. I cite a whole bunch of people. I show them my findings. I tell them why other people are wrong, why I'm right, blah, blah, blah. And the paper's under review, so hopefully they think I'm right. And I wasn't nervous for that talk. I've been nervous for this talk for a while now. Because a lot of you don't know Demisha, but I met Demisha back in 2005, I think. And when she told me she was leaving Smith to come work for an organization, we had a lot of conversations about it. And that was my introduction to Schuler. And when I found out the work they do, but more importantly, the people who they work with, I got kind of intimidated that they invited me to come and talk to you guys. Because it's been a while since I've done this work, and you guys got into college at a time that even there's no way in hell I would have got in. Especially I was competing against some of you guys. So I have them prepared. I probably won't stick to it. And I won't talk all that long. I don't know why Megan thought it's not going to be for 2 hours or whatever. So before I begin, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to speak with you all today and the privilege of being part of this special celebration. I thank Demisha Lee for her introduction, my introduction to Schuler, and Megan Malloy for her unwavering enthusiasm and the work she put into getting me here. Because it's very hard to get me away from campus, one, doing final exams, two, and in December when I really want to go home to Miami because I'm freezing my butt off everywhere. Three. So she really made it very easy for me to come out, and I really want to thank her for that. So if we can give Megan another round of applause. And I also would like to thank all the members of the Schuler family for their dedication to changing the face of higher education, one student and one cohort at a time. The work that you guys do here is absolutely amazing. If I had the help of such amazing people and such an amazing program before college, only God knows how much further along I would be right now. Lastly, I want to thank each and every one of you for bucking preconceptions, for showing the world that your home address and your neighborhood and your family situation does not equal your destination. This evening, as I'm told, is a celebration for completing another semester of college. Congratulations on that. I also know that this is not a reflection. I am humbled by the opportunity to share thoughts with you tonight, and I hope that I live up to the task of uniting the two themes together. Rest assured, I also recognize that I stand before you in food, fun, and frolicking, so I won't keep you here all that long. So my talk is entitled, That Soft Spot Between a Rock and a Hard Place. If we think about it, our homes are our rocks, our foundation. The things we experience shape who we are today for the good and for the bad. For not all rocks are stable, not all rocks are smooth, and handling each and every one of them is not easy. And yet, from these early experiences, we build and we grow. Then, as we continue along this path of upward mobility, we face a different challenge, entering the hard place that is college. College is a new arena accompanied by a completely new set of rules and players, where the stakes are higher and some would argue the odds are longer. So those making the transition into this new arena are figuratively stuck between that rock and a hard place, that soft spot in between, with each exerting different pressures, with each pulling you in different directions, with each telling you how to be and what to do. How we handle this is a struggle, but one that shows one's character and one's strength. We all have stories to tell, but our stories are also telling. What I say now speaks to my own experiences. I do not pretend to speak of a universal, quintessential experience for all lower income, first generation minority students across the country. Some of the things I say will resonate with some of you tonight. But know that it's not my intention, it is my intention to engage a larger narrative of the overlooked experience of being a member of this demographic. As Megan said, I was born in Miami, Florida, into a single family home. I have an older brother and a younger sister. For most of my life, my brother, my mother, my sister, my cousin, and my grandmother lived in a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom home. When I say Miami, people usually get excited because they think of sun and beaches and sand. But our neighborhood was one that tourist cab drivers and delivery guys avoided at all costs. I began school through Head Start program, one that would be taken away for lack of funding some years later. It was through this program I had the opportunity to attend Coconut Grove Elementary, the better funded, predominantly white elementary school on the other side of the tracks. My time there was great, but it had its share of problems. I was almost a victim of tracking early on, and as my teachers tried to place me in remedial classes because of what I looked like rather than what I needed. In first grade, my teachers wanted to test me for a learning disability and recommend that I be placed in classes for the emotionally handicapped. Their justification was that when I finished my work, I disrupted class by tapping my pencil on my desk or humming. I told them previous to any conversations with my mother that the reason I tapped her home was because I was bored, which only landed me in indoor suspension. The fact that my answers were correct did not factor in their perception of me. They simply labeled me as a troublemaker and wanted me out of their classes. When they suggested placement, my mother said, hell no. And in a way that only my mother could, she politely asked them, why weren't they testing me for gifted, given that I only brought home A's and B's? To appease my mother, they tested me for gifted program, and I surpassed their expectations. I got every question correct and clocked the fastest time in the puzzle section of all those who were tested. They successfully placed me in academic excellence program and then promoted me to ACE the following year. The summer between elementary and middle school proved to be just as depressing. I attended summer school because I hated being bored in the summer. I always wanted something to do, and before they cut the funding in Florida, I would go to summer school. This particular summer, the session was held at my mom's school at Palms. And my mom was a school monitor, so I turned 28 yesterday. So that means she's been a school monitor or a security guard at a school for 29 years, and this happens to be the summer that it was at her school. It just so happens that my assistant principal at my new school was subbing there for 6 weeks. When she saw me and a couple of guys in the neighborhood horsing around before school, she walked up to me and said, you you don't have the potential to be a Carverite, which means I don't have the potential to be a member at her magnet school. She didn't know me from Adam. She just walked up to me that day and told me I didn't have the potential. After that day, I decided not to let her ignorance affect me. It was a hard decision because this is literally the first week of summer school, and someone's already telling me that I don't have the potential to be in the school that I have yet to step foot in. But I made it. And it was great pleasure when I graduated from Carver, the middle school that she was at, that they created an award in my honor and presented it to me during the 8th grade assembly with her standing in the front row, forced to clap. so she wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb. It was funny because I laughed because the plaque that they actually have my name engraved on is actually in her office. Transitioning to high school, things were going well academically and socially. My junior year, however, I switched high schools because my coach and the administrators who supported him attempted to pigeonhole me as an athlete student and not a student athlete. Naturally, I play football just in case, anybody was wondering. I didn't do like equestrian or anything like that. Peter would probably arrest me. So I was not supported in my academic endeavors like National Honor Society or Hispanic National Honor Society, the Spanish National Honor Society, where if you take IB Spanish or whatever, you could get in. So with my brother and my mother's help, I left. In a meeting with the principal and the coach, I told them that nothing they did would hold me back, and that I would live a more fulfilling life off my mind than I ever will off my body, and walked out of the office. But a bigger insult yet came when I transferred to go to prep. My IB history teacher proceeded to ask me in front of the entire class, was the paper I submitted really my own? Because I got an A- on it. Personally, I was like, do I want to pay my A-? I mean, to be honest, especially on the paper on European history, I was like, yeah, it's mine. The reason why, he was like, my first paper was a B-. And he was like, no one could clearly turn a paper around or turn work in with so much improvement. And I politely told him, well, I actually read your comments and took them seriously. And it was another great moment when I walked across stage with both a diploma from Gulliver and an IB diploma, which he had to hand to me. I don't know why that happened twice, but just felt good. When I came to Amherst, I played football for a year. After that year, I decided to focus more on me. I don't mean to sound conceited or pretentious. This was my first stint into college. I had no one to offer suggestions to me as to what to do or what to try, so I wanted to try everything. My friend Natasha was in the orchestra. I went to my first orchestra concert. Another friend directed a play. I went to my first play. College was a truly novel experience. But as the old saying goes, all that is shiny is not gold. Leaving for college brought new challenges. My friends back home did not understand what an Amherst was or why I had to go all the way to Massachusetts to get it. Only my wealthiest friends at the prep school knew what Amherst was. As a matter of fact, the vice president of Sports Authority. You guys have Sports Authority here? Yeah. The vice president of Sports Authority I actually officiated his daughter's wedding this summer. Because they're my best friend, I call him Uncle V. He was like, if you don't go, I'll whoop your ass myself. He is a really short dude, but literally, he knew what Amherst was, and he knew what Amherst can do even more than I did at the time, sitting in his living room as a senior in high school, deciding between what schools to go to. My friends back home had absolutely no idea. In fact, many of them questioned if I was actually smart because I wasn't going to a school that they had actually heard of. If I wasn't going to Harvard, if I wasn't going to, well, actually that was it. If you weren't going to Harvard, then you weren't actually smart. Because in my neighborhood, no one knew what Princeton was, no one knew what Columbia was, no one knew what NYU or any of the other Ivy. Brown was literally, what can UPS do for you? Coming home became less about catching up with friends over spades or bowling or bid whist to more me babysitting my nieces because the friendship ties began to break. It was, and to be honest, even as a graduate student at Harvard, still hard to return home and want to get that card game going when your calls are unanswered. Acclaimed author Junot Diaz. You guys know who Junot Diaz is? Yeah, Junot's crazy. But he had, so I'm a mentor for the Latino Leadership Initiative at the community school. And every summer I am the liaison for the UMass Boston, but I also get to coordinate some of the programming, and gave a talk last year. He suggested that we forgive those who turn their backs on us when we continue on our academic endeavors. At first, I thought Juno was crazy. I'm like, why would I forgive someone who turned their back on me for basically doing exactly what my mom told me to do on the first day of school, try my best. But behind this comment is that you cannot let it eat at you. When you're excelling in school, it's one of the basic things that you learn from your parents. It is a bit ironic that it is the one thing that causes tensions between you and home. The more you progress, the more work it takes to deal with distance. Forgiving those who do not understand is not for their benefit, but for your own. Because dealing with what happens on a college campus is hard enough as it is. But while on campus, questions arose. Am I qualified to be here? What is Longchamp? When is ever a P silent? I thought the Greek god was named Hermes. What the hell is Hermes? Did the fact that I did not know things that those things underscore how much of a fish out of water I was? Why do people keep asking me where to vacation in Miami as if I know where to go? The social side of life was arguably the most difficult to navigate. Every outing, every dance, every class session was another time where I felt my actions or words identified me as a member of the new class of admits. Academically, was that rich white student right when he yelled out that I was an affirmative action admit and I couldn't make it in on my own? It took some time to shape these new thoughts. It was hard, I'm not gonna lie to you. At once I felt as if I was losing my safety net outside of my family back home because they didn't know how to engage me or understand what I was going through in college. I felt as if I was navigating two worlds, a tenuous dual citizenship with two opposing nations. For a while there were two me's. There was Tony at home and there was Anthony at school. But that was mentally and emotionally taxing. It was not until I heard President Anthony Marks, who was then president of Amherst, say two words that stuck with me. He said, we need to be unapologetically elitist. At first, this combination sounds horrible. Why would I adopt a term that I use to deride some of my ignorant classmates? But he reconceptualized, his reconceptualization involves refusing to apologize for Amherst's success and setting the standard for increasing access to elite universities for disadvantaged populations. Man, forget where I was. Sorry, yeah, that hit home to me because I was tired of being embarrassed or ashamed that I was academically successful in my home, with my home friends, and then angry at the fact that people at school did not value who I was for what I overcame to get to Amherst. I never thought of myself as better because of my education, and even with a degree from Harvard and working on a second one, I still don't. But I did realize that my decision to focus on academics early in life, instead of sports, the drug game, or any of the other things that distract people in my neighborhood, like many of my friends, led me to Amherst and now at Harvard. I own my accolades, including the tears and the fears that came along with them. And just as before, with the examples of people questioning my worthiness, I looked at college through the lens of lessons learned. I saw each problem for what it was, another hurdle to jump, another obstacle to overcome, just like all the ones I overcame before. Soon I saw no difference between the teachers who questioned my abilities in elementary, middle, and high school than the students who tried to use affirmative action to say I somehow did not belong at Amherst. With respect to academic work, I knew that I just needed a new skill set to do it. Knowing I was not as prepared as some of my classmates, I sought help. I went to the quantitative skills centers every day for math and chemistry. If you wanted to find me on a Friday afternoon after lunch, you could easily check any one of my professor's office hours. When I turned my first college paper, I got a C. That was the lowest grade on a paper that I had ever received. I told myself that was unacceptable. So again, seeking help, I started going to our writing center. And I didn't ask them just to correct the paper and then I go home and put in the correction. I asked them why that comma should go there. Why do you switch between a semicolon and a column when you have two lists within each other? Why is a dash there for that particular reason? What words should I use? Such things that I did not learn in my high school, even though I went to a prep school for a year. I wanted to know the whys, the why nots, and the hows. For the social side of life, for those days when I needed someone to listen to me or a shoulder to cry on, I know she's not here, but when I found Demisha in my sophomore year, Amherst completely changed for me. And it's really important for you to find your Demisha. Whether that person is an older student, a staff member, a professor, or the president, finding that person is incredibly important for internships, for les recommendation, for emotional support, because college is already not easy, but in an institution that's made for those individuals who are economically advantaged and who've been used to that environment, it can get even trickier. In the end, I won the third Mosley Prize for my thesis on 8th century Buddhism. The John Sumner Runnels Memorial Prize, which is awarded to that member of the junior class who, in the opinion of the trustees, is preeminent in his zeal for knowledge and industry to attain it. The prize presented to me at graduation is the highest honor the college bestows on any student. And it came with a real big check that shocked me. I'm not going to lie to you on that one. That helped me, in some ways, like save the house back home. Because like growing up, you are aware of the smaller things, like doing homework by candlelight, not trying to be romantic, but because the lights are off, or buying Zephyr Hills, gallon Zephyr Hills because the water's going to be off from Wednesday to Friday until mommy's able to pay the bill. And with that check, I was able to invest in home in a different way that I would not be able to. So even though they were just awarding me for my academic endeavors and the social things that I did on campus, they don't know that they actually saved the house back home in a place that I still return to, that I will return to on Thursday. And I want you to know that I recite these descriptions not to toot my own horn, but rather to show that where I came from had and has no bearing on where I'm going. Tom Parker, the Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at Amherst, was quoted in the Times as saying, "I'm not an anomaly." Many students and readers took offense to his comments and argued that it went against the point or the reason for the article. Some people even went as far as to write me their opinions and share blog posts with me or personal letters to that effect. And I would say for a second that Tom Parker is 100% right. I'm not an anomaly. It is not my intention to downplay my own achievements so as to place others on a pedestal. But when you look at my story before Amherst, middle child in a low-income, single-family home, residing in a segregated, poor neighborhood, and educated in an underfunded public school system, and the stories of other students from similar background, what really is the difference? We all have the potential to succeed when given the opportunity. An opportunity that should be allotted to all, but sadly it's not. I still ask myself, what sets me apart? Am I so different from many of you sitting in front of me? Lower income students are the nation's most abundant, untapped resource. And I hope you see that. Schuler, in my mind, is an enabler. It serves as a fast-paced conduit that provides you with experiences, help, and skills that is absent in our families, in our neighborhoods. They fill a gap that society refuses to close. But it is each one of you who make this journey, endure the trials and tribulations, and thrive in your new settings. I am just here to say thank you for your continued dedication to yourself, For there is nothing more beautiful in the world than someone who believes in himself. I close with one of my favorite poems by Langston Hughes. It is as if his words are distant echoes from the time period that also could be considered that soft spot between a rock and a hard place, the Harlem Renaissance, to remind us all that though the journey may be long and hard, it is surely worth the ride. I've been scarred and battered, my hopes done wind and scattered. Snow has frizzed me, sun has baked me. Looks like between them they done tried to make me. Stop laughing, stop loving, stop living, but I don't care. I'm still here. Thank you. Yes. Any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms?
You're awesome.
Thank you. I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but I'll take it. Yes.
You asked where Demisha was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Demisha is the new director of college counseling. She is an alum of Williams, which I'm not 100% happy about. It's all about the A thing. She's an alum of Williams, and she also has a master's degree from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. She has been working in admissions for the last 17 years. I was going to get there. She's worked at Bates, Amherst, and her last position was at Smith College. And she's always been the director of essentially diversity recruitment at each one of the schools she's been in. And I was her diversity intern. So I worked with her for 2 years, and those were the 2 of the most rewarding years of my life. Probably, well, because she's awesome, but then also Hurricane Katrina and Wilma hit. So I was working 40 hours a week at different jobs on campus, and whenever I volunteered for a shift, Demisha let me, until the Dean of Financial Aid called me in his office and said I had exhausted my work study in the first month of school. Which usually doesn't happen, but I was like, I had to work to support people back home because I had a tree on my roof that needed to come down. I'm from Miami, so mango trees, they fall over in a hurricane. But they're so sweet. It's like still there, not on the roof, but half the tree is like on the ground. You can go like, my niece can walk up and pick mangoes. It's awesome. But yeah, if you guys have a chance to stop by the office and introduce yourself to Demisha, she would not only really appreciate it, but I think you will get a sense of what I got every day at school.
Which campus?
Which one?
She works in upstairs.
Oh, you guys have campus. Okay, I thought.
I just want to say, Neil, because you asked who Demisha is. So, because Demisha's our new director of college counseling, I don't want anyone to worry about Rob. So some of you are probably thinking, then what happened to Rob? For those of you who don't know, Rob moved back east, so he's back in Boston. He and Ron moved there, and Rob is still connected with us. He's been doing some work for us for the last few months, and was really excited about tonight and sends his best to everyone who's here who knows him. Right now he's filling in for a maternity leave at a private school in Boston where he's doing college counseling, and then he's going to figure out what he wants to do next. So he's going to come back sometime in the spring. Many of you won't be here, but he's going to come back to visit us and go around to some of the high schools. So he's alive and well and happy, and he sends his best, and he helped us recruit Demisha. We knew that Rob was going to be moving. His husband, Ron, got a job out east, and so we knew that it was likely that they'd end up moving back east, and he helped us recruit Demisha and train Demisha, and it was all done in good luck. So don't worry about Rob.
Were there any questions? I know y'all want to eat. I mean, I'm sticking around, so we can Chaz, though. The last thing I will say is this. I love formal introductions because it forces everyone to take you seriously. So like when I'm introduced for real, I always use my name, when I publish, I use my full name, which is, for that purpose of, yes, I'm low income, yes, I'm first gen, yes, I'm a black male in a world that is almost diametrically opposed to that, but force that kind of formal introduction. But when I leave this podium, like, I don't have the sense. I would love to have fun. I'm a talented person, I swear. Don't let the degrees fool you. You know, like when you look outside, you think it's like kind of like warm, but the sun's all shining, and then as soon as you get outside, you're like I think, I'm like that, right? So I love to have fun. I love to chat. I love to hear about your college experiences, where you go, because I haven't devoted the rest of my life to studying the experience of undergrad, so that we move universities forward, so they're not as inhospitable as they are now, and also how do we open the doors to them even more. But like I said, I love to chit chat with you guys for the rest of the night. Hopefully the pizza's as good as the meatballs that Tyler told me it was. And again, thank you guys so much for the work you guys are doing and for everything that you do.
Thank you so much. All right. I think the pizza's about to get served, so feel free to grab some pizza and enjoy the rest of the night. We'll be back with the raffle around like 8:30.